I want to bring in our first guest to deal with what you just heard here, Congressman Tom Malinowski. He a Democrat from New Jersey. You know, Congressman, we have heard so much nonsense, frankly, in the last couple months while we're dealing with a national pandemic. But few things have gotten me as so mad as this canard of this blue state bailout. We'll get to the math in a minute, but whatever the opposite of the United States is, I'm seeing this not just from the McConnells of the world, but from the White House too, consciously pitting state against state. I even just saw this afternoon when the governor of Florida, DeSantis, said, well, you know, we got our cases from New York, as if New York created the coronavirus. I can't believe some of the things I'm hearing.
Yeah, and not to mention the governor of Florida at first refusing to allow people off of a cruise ship unless they were Floridians. And I had constituents from my district in New Jersey on that ship last month, and he finally relented. Look, it's important to stress at this time, above all, we are one country. We have to take care of each other. What's good for people in New Jersey is good for people all across this country, and vice versa. We rise and fall together. And any politician who's not delivering that message in a moment of crisis, I think, is not leading us in the direction we need to go.
Well, let's just spend a few minutes, if we could, disabusing anyone of some of the falsehoods. First off, that this is being proffered here, the idea of withholding aids to state and municipalities because there's this newborn fiscal responsibility coming out of the White House. We're hearing reports. This is being done as an attempt in an election year to score points by dividing along red and blue lines, but also to pressure states like yours in New Jersey into opening sooner than they feel safe if they want to get funding. Talk about some of the motivations here for this nonsense.
I think people like Mitch McConnell have a years-long agenda to try to dismantle government in this country. They don't like the fact that some states like ours have chosen to spend more money to have better schools, better infrastructure, better services, better parks. And he denies the fact that in addition to doing all that for ourselves, we create the wealth of this country. We pay most of the taxes. We actually support healthcare and education in states like Kentucky. New Jersey, the average taxpayer in New Jersey gets 90 cents back from the federal government for every dollar we pay in taxes. The average taxpayer in Kentucky gets $2.41 for every dollar they send to Washington. That's the difference. We are bailing them out on a daily basis. Right now, we're the hardest hit state in the country, along with New York, and we desperately need help, not just for the state of New Jersey, but for small towns in New Jersey to be able to keep on paying cops and firefighters and teachers to keep normal life alive in our state.
And if you could, put as best you can, Congressman, a human face. Let's say McConnell followed through with his threat here that, hey, why doesn't New Jersey or New York or California just declare bankruptcy? You guys can't do that, obviously. Talk about how draconian the cuts would be and the kind of people that would be out of jobs and how that would affect, I should say, regular people in New Jersey.
Yeah, I mentioned some of the people who would be out of jobs: teachers, cops, and firefighters. And by the way, anybody we lay off, if we lay off a state or municipal government worker, guess what happens? They go on unemployment. Guess who pays for that? The federal government, the taxpayers. Wouldn't we rather have those people on the job providing public services to the people than going on the unemployment dole? That's the choice here. We pay either way. But some of these folks, like McConnell, they just, they don't like government, and they're willing to bail out large corporations. They're willing to bail out the airlines. They're willing to bail out casino chains. But when it comes to state and local governments that provide services to people, it's a different story. Now, look, that said, we've screamed about this. I have been pushing really hard in the House to make sure that the next bill we pass is all about assistance to state and local government. I had 54 local mayors and county freeholders in my district, about half of them Republican, write a letter yesterday to the congressional leadership saying, come on, this is bipartisan, we need this. And today, McConnell is singing a different tune. Today, he said, all right, we're going to have state and local funding in the next bill. So we're making some progress here. We're going to negotiate it, but I think we're going to get something.
You're a better person than me. The cynicism of this, we read the president's tweet at the beginning. The implication was New Jersey, New York, the hardest hit states, it was because of fiscal mismanagement that you find yourselves in the situations you're in right now. It's not because, I don't know, about a pandemic that has basically shut the country down. To me, to play politics at a time like this, and I am not a babe in the woods, Congressman, I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, well, we saw a bit of it, when some of these senators from other states didn't want to help us during Hurricane Sandy. And then when Texas got hit hard, then obviously their hands were out. And we did the right thing. We did not say to Texas, you didn't want to help us, we're not going to help you, because we're Americans. And we know that we rise and fall together, as I said at the beginning. So that will be our attitude. The education of a child in North Carolina or Louisiana or Kansas is important to me. The education of a child in New Jersey ought to be important to people all over America. And as you said, what's standing in the way of that right now is not some pension problem. It's not fiscal mismanagement. It's the fact that our economy is shut down. Tax revenues are not coming in. Every state, every town across America is facing the same problem. Let's stay together.
Yeah, and just to amplify the congressman's point, I remember after 9/11, there were some in Washington who didn't want to help New York recover, but yet they would come to New York for fundraisers. So, Congressman, I appreciate the time, and also best of luck here making sure your colleagues do the right thing in Washington. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.